Hi, Darren. I wasn't sure if you wanted to be invited to this, if you wanted to be in on this discussion, but I wanted to invite you. Be starting in 3 minutes. Okay, welcome to Communication Technology first live Google Hangout video conference. And today our topic, our first topic, which is relevant right now, is working with our students, helping them deal with post-election anxiety, which of course not all students have, but many students do have these anxieties, and their family members may have these anxieties also since the result of the election. And so this video conference is not meant to be a political conference, and neither will future Google Hangouts be. It's more of an education forum, but it's just that this is the relevant topic of today. So, in fact, our next one, which we will do in December, there won't be a video conference next week because next Thursday is Thanksgiving, but next video conference, which is in December, will be on winter holidays, celebrating or not, which is things that we'll do with our students who do celebrate winter holidays, not just Christmas, but Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, which is actually in October this year. It already passed, but still it's in that winter time. There's Diwali. So we'll be talking about different cultures, multicultural celebrations, but also having children who don't celebrate the holidays and how we can address their needs and make sure that they are still feeling part of the school family. So that will be for our Google Hangout in December. And if I seem a little bit nervous, it's because this is my first time doing this live conference. So bear with me. I'll get more comfortable with it as I go along and with each future broadcast. So I did make a Google presentation, a Google Slides presentation. So hopefully when I go like this, oh no, I have to share my screen, and then you should be able to see the presentation that I made. And you see at the top there that you can ask questions. And so I will be keeping my eye on that, seeing if there's any questions being asked, which I will respond to. I'll do my best to respond to in here. So, helping students deal with post-election anxieties. I am going to text someone and make sure that my screen is actually showing what I want it to be showing, which is that flag with the glass broken there, the election. Let's see, is my presentation showing? Okay, so this is the first trial run of doing this. Okay, so since the election, there have been an increase in incidents of racism. So for an example, at Reed College here in Portland, there was some sexual harassment and anti-LGBT rhetoric and racial things scrawled on the walls there. That happened. I have links to these different articles and things that are going on. This is in Forbes magazine. After Trump's elections, Americans react with tweets and donations, and this article is talking about a lot of the things that are going on. So this Ventura, California, that's actually near where I grew up in California. Ada Gonzalez about to drop off her son.
Every week, the Daily Show with Trevor Noah brings you the news that really matters.
Okay, so one of the few Hispanic students at his school on Wednesday in Ventura, she says she noticed a group of fifth graders chanting "Build a Wall." I think that students who are the rare minority group in a school feel even more alone. Like it says, he was one of the few Hispanic students at his school, and so he must feel a lot more alone than most of the students in my school, because my school is the majority of our students are native Spanish speakers. So come on in. I'm live with the world right now, and I am here with, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen for a minute so that I can introduce our school's counselor, our guidance counselor. This is Susan Stevens. Say hello.
Hi.
Okay, and I'm hoping that I just dropped this on her, but I'm hoping that she can be with me and participate with me, because she is one of the ones who is giving this comfort and reassurance to our students. We have a lot of students who are worried, because a lot of our students, we've had students here crying because they're worried about their parents being sent to Mexico. And so I have heard or read on Facebook from family members and friends of mine from different places who don't even think this is a real thing. They think, oh, why are people saying that they're scared? And they think that it's just silly, and they think that they're blowing things out of proportion and making a big deal out of something. They're saying that, well, racism existed before the election, so you're just making a big deal of it now. And I think that the people that are saying that are people that aren't in the midst of where it's happening. They're very insulated, and so they think that this is just something that's being made up. They don't feel it. They don't see it and feel it like we do, because we're with the kids that are scared, or at least some of them. There are different groups of kids who are scared for different reasons and very nervous for different reasons. But anyway, that's why we're talking about this. We're talking about how we can give comfort to our kids, but also help them to go on with their education and focus on that, so that they're not just obsessing and worrying. We need to do what we can to make them get back into the normal feeling of school and going on and doing our best.
Mm-hmm. So if you want, I have like two instances. I have one family that came in the day after the election, and there were three girls. One was fine when I talked to her because she's going to be safe here at school. We're safe. We're safe. We take students and we take care of them, and if we need to, we have places for them to talk to people. That's one thing. And then the second girl, the middle person, could not concentrate at all. During the whole day, all she could think about was her mom was going to be taken and that she would not be there when she got home.
Oh, wow.
The third oldest was just taking care of them, brought them to me, and we talked and had that conversation, and she just accepted what was going on as far as the election. So the second one showed up the next day, and the same thing happened. Now she's feeling sick and ill.
It's still continuing, this anxiety?
Yeah, still continuing. Now she doesn't know why she's feeling sick. She doesn't know why she's ill. So she's ended up in the office. So back to that day after the election, I did, and for the second was kept crying, the middle child, and we called her mom. And the mom was trying to reassure her, I am here, I'm okay.
Yeah, good.
Nothing's happened, and I'm going to be there for you.
Well, I was wondering about that too, about their families, and if these children have said that even, their parents, are they anxious too? Are they expressing that?
Well, the mom was thanking me for letting them know that they were safe here at school. And since then, I've become a little more educated myself. I've been listening to a lot of programs about the anxiety that people are feeling after the election. Mm-hmm. Whether whoever you voted for, they're not happy even with the choices they made. They just want to make sure that that we know that we're not feeling very good right now. It's mm-hmm. split up a country. Our country feels split. We're not sure what's going to happen. And so I've actually been listening to programs and how they're leaving schools and walking out and expressing themselves.
The older students protesting and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I had another instance today because I'm the advisor for the student council, and we were talking about voting.
Oh, okay.
And just voting for some things that we are doing, like some people are going to announce things at the community, and some people are going to put posters for a food drive. Mm-hmm. So we're voting. And then, do you know what voting is? And they all knew what voting was. This is the first year where I had no problem discussing what
they certainly
voting.
Learned about elections.
And then they were saying, and they said right away, they said, well, we're disappointed. Yeah, with the election, it's really, what do we do now? And I said, well, this is probably not the time to talk about it, but we do have a country that's free to vote, and we have choices, and we all have our own choices. And they talked about that a little bit. And then they said, and I said, and you know what? We don't always get what we want when we vote. Right. And that's kind of what we were talking about. A lot of them are not feeling like there's a clear path, and that's where we're at here. But we still have people that are safe. Right. People will talk to us. People will accept us as we are.
Have you experienced any of just in your own personal life, are there any people in your life that don't seem to get it? Like they don't know why people are upset?
Bingo.
Really?
Yes.
They're like, they think we're making a big deal.
We just had a discussion about this over the weekend, and I haven't even been able to talk about it because I'm feeling that same disconnection. And I'm Hispanic. Yeah. And I kind of don't want to be, I don't want to judge someone because they voted differently, but I've had people sharing with me their thoughts. And it just makes me feel really sad that we don't have a similar safe feeling about our country. Right. Even with the votes being their choices, they still don't feel like they don't know where it's going. And that's just
everything's disorganized right now. Everyone's wondering what's going to happen.
And I think, you know, if you're Hispanic, and I don't know if that's true of all cultures, but knowing that you're safe and you feel like you're free to make choices and be comfortable what you say is really important to people feeling good, right, and comfortable and okay. Yeah. And we're all kind of like, all the kids today at student council were like, oh, I don't know, voting is hard.
I'm glad that they have that opportunity to be talking about it. I think that's something that helps too, just that being able to talk about it.
And the student that I told you about that was crying the whole time, the more I talked to her, the more she did. It's interesting because I don't even always catch it's a phenomena of being able just to express yourself and know that somebody's listening to you. Yeah. But it's somebody that cares about what you're feeling, and they care. That's it.
Part of this, I'm going to tell, in fact, maybe I'll go ahead and do this because I'm not sure how long you can stay, but I would like you to just stay with me. You're totally excellent. And I want you to chime in whenever you feel, because you being the counselor is totally relevant. But what Susan just mentioned about empathy, it's something that we're discussing anyway in school, election or not. It's something that we always, talk about. We're trying to build empathy in our students and having them really understand what it is, and that there's a difference between just sympathy, oh, I'm sorry for you, and real empathy, putting yourself in someone's shoes and feeling how they feel. Okay, so Susan has not heard what happened to me today. Okay. And it's just one of those classic teaching moments, and it does kind of go with this discussion because with the election and everything, empathy is a main thing. So this is one of those a lesson that teachers learned, I learned today, is that you should preview before you show something to kids. And nothing terrible or inappropriate was shown, but here's what happened. I'm talking to them about empathy and about what you do comes back to you, and one good turn deserves another, and treating others the way you want to be treated. And all of a sudden it triggered in my head the story of Anxieties and the lion. Where Anxieties pulls the thorn out of the lion's paw, that one?
And a while since I've
it's it's a very old story, but so that's the thing, is it's a Greek myth, and so the lion, Anxieties comes across him, and the lion has a thorn in his paw, and he's so hurt, and so Anxieties pulls it out. Well, later Anxieties gets thrown into the arena to be eaten by lions, and it turns out that the lion who comes out is that same one, and so he doesn't eat Anxieties. Well, that's the way the actual tale goes, the Greek myth. But I was just on the spur of the moment, I pull up YouTube and I type in Anxieties and the lion, and I found Anxieties. Well, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm having people. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to send out another invitation. So I pull up this cartoon version, and it says Anxieties and the lion for children. So I think, okay, well, for sure, this is going to be fine. And so it turns out to be a cartoon version, and I recognize it as this cartoon that I used to watch when I was little, Fractured Fairy Tales.
Yeah.
The little fairy, da, 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 and the book opens. I'm like, oh, I remember these, you know, but I didn't remember. So it was a 5-minute thing, and we sat there and watched the whole thing to the end, and Androcles is in the arena, and he's like, remember me? I pulled the thorn out of your paw, and the lion's like, yeah, but they haven't fed me for 2 weeks. And he's like, yeah, but you're not going to eat me, right? You know, I helped you. And the lion's like, well, I'm awfully hungry. And then all of a sudden, and so, and it goes to another scene, and it's just a scoreboard, and it says, Lion 1, Androcles 0. And I went, oh no! And this was a bunch of 5th graders. I went, that does not illustrate the point I was trying to make. And they burst out laughing. And I'm like, that's not the way the story goes. So, yeah. So, and then I'm like, that's not the point I was trying to make. That totally did not confirm what I'm trying to illustrate to you. And I should have looked at that first. And then they're laughing at me in a funny way, you know, that I didn't feel bad, but they're like, yeah, guess what we learned in class today? Oh, that was the thing too. At the end of this, the moral of this story, it says the moral of this story is if you meet a ferocious beast and it wants you to help it and promises to be your friend forever, don't trust it. So they're laughing and going, oh, great. In class today, we learned that if you help somebody, that they'll eat you. And they were just laughing. So that's what happened to me today. But I started laughing too. We were all cracking up.
It's interesting.
It's not what I expected.
This whole conversation about empathy and how we want to have a clear, like we've been talking about a clear definition.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like the election. There's no real clear definition. And this kind of makes for a little bit of
friction.
Yeah, a little bit of like, oh, are we okay? And I think we see it in people and their relationships, but we see it in our families and we see it with our friends, which I know Lisa and I are friends.
Yes.
And we can have a disagreement or some kind of a situation where we don't always have a clear way.
We might not even agree, but you know what's the deal? I know your heart.
Well,
and you know my heart. And sometimes the people that we're talking with, you know, or the people that are out there, they don't know our heart. We don't know theirs. And so there's a trust thing here that's stronger than a disagreement.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I think in a way, then that's why you do your work and that's why I do my work. And I do it with and I just have this thing from Maya Angelou.
Oh,
I think I
what
say
is it?
It is really beautiful. I leave it on my door, kind of my desk now. And it says basically that you can have a disagreement. You can have if you have that open heart of people know that you didn't intend to hurt the person.
Right.
So it's a lot of discussion about still not having a clear direction.
Yeah.
And that's what you do in this counseling, my work with kids.
Mm-hmm.
They know that you may not have the answer, but you don't have to have the answer.
Yeah.
You just kind of
You're there for them.
You work with that.
I see Lisette's here with us now. Hello. Oh, can I unmute you? Let me see.
No, I've been here for a while and I've been muted and not because I'm at home and there's somebody here with me.
Okay. Well, would you like to share anything about anything that you guys are doing at your school as far as, you know, have you had issues with kids being anxious? Are there certain things that you're doing there that you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know what it is we're talking about. I know there's been a lot of anxiety, and some of the instructional assistants talked to me about kids being very scared on Wednesday. And there was tears, lots of tears.
Okay.
A kid even shared that his dad had cried the night before, so that's going to be pretty difficult. So there's a lot of
could be traumatic, especially when people are not used to seeing their dad cry. So what do you do? What do you do with them?
I don't know what they've done.
Okay.
I think the counselor's done a lot of work. I haven't talked to her about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put on the presentation that I made. I wanted to see if I could see, wait, where the questions. I want to make sure I'm not. Oh, good. Darren's letting me know that you do see the presentation when I share it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and so they're going to be.
Bye, or
No, stay. But you'll see the presentation, and you can chime in anytime that you have that you want to say. And so we were looking at this. What I was talking about here was the fact that this article was talking about this boy in Ventura, California. It says that he was one of the few Hispanic students at his school, and people were, I wish I could do that. People were yelling, "Build the wall," and I was thinking, well, it must be really difficult for students that are like the few. If there's not many Hispanic students and he's feeling all alone, that's makes a person feel very vulnerable. And then in New York, pride flags were burned outside homes. Elsewhere, a teacher reported that a 10-year-old girl had to be picked up from school after a boy grabbed her vagina, saying if a president can do it, he can do it too. Wow. And this, I checked my sources here. This is Forbes magazine. This is not just this is not The Onion. I checked. And so this is serious business. And it does frustrate me when I hear people saying, oh, this is nothing new. These things have been happening even before. And it's not true. Stuff's happening that never happened before. So a lot of disturbing incidents, like it says. And the links are in the presentation that I made if people would like to go back to them. This was in the NEA magazine, you probably saw, talking about what we can do. It says that one boy in a school was crying because he saw Trump mocking a disabled person. A teenager who's gay is afraid of what he will do to the LGBT community. Muslim students asking if they're going to be safe. Latino students asking if they're going to be deported. And so this article is about just talking to them, pretty much what Susan was saying, just being there for them and being someone that they can feel comfortable talking to. And then like this says, I'm also going to tell them that nothing's going to change overnight. I want them to feel safe. As educators, that's what we do in difficult times. So it's not like all of a sudden people are going to be breaking down the doors. And my thought also is that these students and these people who are most vulnerable, they have a lot of people supporting them too. It's not like we suddenly dissolved. We didn't just disappear when the election happened. So it's not like people are going to be just left alone. I like this, class discussion tips. It's got resources here, things that we can do. And like Susan was talking about, just being able to have a discussion, sometimes that in itself, that catharsis really can help. But, and then they're feeling that they're not alone too. You can gain feelings of empowerment and hope, feel safe and respected. So these are good resources on here. And that also is in the presentation. Where's my presentation? Did I lose my presentation? Okay, go back into presenting mode. Okay, continue recent. Yeah, and so I just want to see if there's questions. So I don't see any questions yet, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm not going to go to all of these links right here. We'll just go to the next slide. Especially vulnerable students, children of undocumented parents, like Susan was talking about, worrying about parents being sent away, undocumented students themselves, Mexican, Black, and Middle Eastern students, I think, are especially feeling vulnerable for a variety of different reasons. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans students are feeling worried. I did hear them in an interview with Trump. I think he was on 60 Minutes. He himself said that, as far as gay marriage goes, it's not being overturned. It's already been signed into law. It's already passed. So I think that some of the things that he said in the election that were very fierce and large sounding may not, actually just happen. So, disabled students feeling vulnerable because, of the way he was making fun of that disabled reporter, and like the article mentioned, a kid noticed that, and that boy who has autism he took it personally, which I'm sure that lots of disabled students may have taken that personally. It's not just some disabled reporter. It's kind of like he's mocking a group of people. And then, of course, female students, and we know why, and we can see the repercussions from that. So it's just some graphics. This actually is a border wall between the U.S. and Mexico, right there. So anyway, and look at the faces. This was a very contentious election. I don't think it was so contentious. I don't think there was the viciousness from either side in prior elections. Not that I remember or that I've seen. So this is a CNN political commentator, Van Jones. Hopefully this will come through. This is a very short 2-minute clip.
Congratulations, both of you guys. We're not there yet.
This is before the election.
Further than anybody said you would be. And I have enough class, and I was raised well enough to say when you outdo, yes, sir, thank you. When you outdo expectations, good for you. But there's another side to this. People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare. It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared. And then you have this outcome, and you have people putting children to bed tonight, and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of, how do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country? I have families of immigrants that are terrified tonight. This was many things. This was a rebellion against the elites. True, it was a complete reinvention of politics and polls, it's true. But it was also something else. We've talked about race. We've talked about everything but race tonight. We've talked about income. We've talked about class. We've talked about region. We haven't talked about race. This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes. And Donald Trump has a responsibility tonight to come out and reassure people that he is going to be the president of all the people who he insulted and offended and brushed aside. Yeah, when you say you want to take your country back, you got a lot of people who feel that we're not represented well either. But we don't want to feel that someone has been elected by throwing away some of us to appeal more deeply to others. So this is a deeply painful moment tonight. I know it's not just about race. There's more going on than that. But race is here too. We got to talk about it.
Yeah. And a lot of the whole thing struck me, but also I thought about that first part as far as we tell kids, don't be a bully, don't be bigoted, be prepared, do your homework. And then when the outcome turns around and it's like, the nice guys finish last, or, which is not exactly what happened here, but still, when we tell kids, don't steal, and then they turn around and
so Darren, why isn't your picture on there? Why isn't your picture on there?
Nobody's picture's being shown right now because it's showing the slideshow, hopefully.
Oh, I see. Okay, but I just see Darren as a blob. Hello. Hi. How many people do we have signed up? Just us?
Well, I don't know. There's only 10 people who can participate at the same time. And I do have our school counselor, Susan Stevens, here with me. So she's participating.
Perfect. Hi, Susan.
Live. Hello.
This is Artie Reverman. Dr. Reverman.
Hello. Hi. I know.
Go ahead. I was on a Hangout all by myself. So this is Which is so funny. But this is actually a great way for us. Darren, I just got Darren to bring me in on
Oh, great.
on TeamViewer. So, oh my God, don't we love technology? So this is good, Lisa. You'll have a nice presentation to put on YouTube.
Exactly.
And,
we've got the whole thing.
I think it's a good way to, yeah, it's a good way to just kind of do our first run. And it's really good to include the counselors. And
Susan's the one that's been using your puppets, the synergy.
oh, wonderful.
Puppets.
But I don't see her little picture. So
Because,
I see Lizette and I see me.
Do you see the slideshow being shown?
I do.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead because this is I'm not actually sure. There may be thousands of people out there watching us right now. I don't know.
But how can they watch if now explain to me how thousands can watch? We can only have
because they go to the link. I did not invite them to be participants here because there's a limit of 10, but I did share the link to the YouTube. And so I think that maybe somewhere out there it's saying that we're live and that people can watch us. And if anybody's out there right now watching, then please email me at the end of the presentation. You'll see our email information, but let me know if you were here during the live broadcast, not as a participant, but that you were able to see it as a viewer, because this whole thing it's our maiden voyage here,
It's our launch. So now we get input from everybody. I invited Carla Conley and Jennifer and people that are familiar with courses. So this is good, and we'll just let you go back, and I'm happy to get started. So
okay, great.
Thank you,
so
Lisa.
I'll go to our thank you. I'm glad you're in here.
Me too.
And so this is the next slide. This is a book that our entire school is reading together. This is a book that our staff is studying, and our dean is presenting about it regularly. And I love this book. I'm learning so much. It's by Dr. Becky Bailey, and we started reading this as a staff and discussing it at the beginning of the year, unrelated to the election, but it really does fit. And it says, creating the school family, bully-proofing classrooms through emotional intelligence. And so there's a lot of great techniques and things that we're doing in here, but one of them is safe places in our classrooms. And so what you're looking at is part of my classroom, and my classroom is actually the computer lab. So I moved things around in order to make this spot. But the bottom line is we're talking about when students, once in a blue moon, somebody might be feeling extremely upset or sad or distracted or whatever. This is not, or anxious or angry or whatever. And we have some students who, the ones we call the high flyers or the frequent flyers that may need to use this space more often, but we teach them to use it as a place where they can go and decompress, rather than act out in the normal in the previous ways that they did. And so the thing is that as I read in the book, I was worried, like someone in the book mentioned, aren't they all going to go there to sit there and get out of work, or because you've got things in there to color, and on the computer screen I've got the ocean and it's making ocean sounds. I've got a little aromatherapy there. There's a blanket down here. There's stress balls in the drawer. Well, you teach it first so that they really respect the area.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. That is so great, because you're using all the senses to nurture emotionally. And when I was in St. Augustine, Florida, where there was the first schoolroom, there was a very specific spot for the dunce. And they actually had a dunce cap. So look at the different emotional state that a child enters this safe space, or the dunce formally would have entered this space, but with a very different instruction from the teacher in the time.
Right.
So look at how different our emotional nurturing now becomes in creating healthy states, because the brain cannot learn unless it feels safe. So I think this is great.
Yeah. And that's how we started this book. This discussion is about the brain states and how, you know, the most primitive state is that fight or flight, you know, that state where am I safe? And then in the middle, there's the emotional state where you're wanting to know that you're valued and you're loved. And then the executive state is where you're actually able to make decisions and feel effective. And I've learned as much about myself through this reading than as I have about the kids and how to work with them, because I find that in the past, and I've been teaching for 27 years, I don't do well with children who are defiant, like in your face, disrespectful, defiant. And I have found myself getting into power struggles with them before, and it's never constructive, you know? And so what I've learned through this reading and this discussion and my working with Ardeen, she's as a coach with me, I'm learning to prevent myself from going to my old habits, just, you know, snapping or because I said so, or sit down, or how dare you, you know, that kind of thing. And just reflecting on where is this student coming from, what might they be going through, and I can see it being constructive. You know, okay, this kid was just kept interrupting and just was really being disrespectful just the other day, and my normal reaction would have been sort of just a snappy, harsh thing. And instead I waited, and when the rest of the class went out the door, I called him over and I said, you know, that made it really hard for me to teach. And I was teaching about being ready for the state test. It wasn't fun stuff, but I said, you know, I know that you have the ability to do well on this, but if you don't want to pay attention and you want to ignore it, at least do it quietly. But when you're saying the wrong answer on purpose, just to be funny, it's confusing the other students and it's really hard on me. And he didn't laugh at me or be nasty at me. He looked at me in the face and I said, okay. And he nodded his head and I said, all right. I said, you know, you have a great day. And it was a totally different feel than how things went.
You know,
before.
I think that's interesting because all of us don't realize that language affects the nervous system. So the way that we phrase things, and if you look at what Obama and Hillary and Michelle Obama have done in terms of taking this huge disappointment for them, but not referring to that, but realizing where the common ground was, the American people. The same thing's true with the teacher student or in our families that we want to nurture, but what it is we have to gaze through their eyes of their emotional experience.
Right.
Or we don't reach a nurturing state. So I think what you said first was that pause is so important to realize you can either respond to the situation and notice how you're pacing their energies, their voice. They may be visual kids that talk real fast. And if you interrupt them, it's like you've interrupted the movie that's going on in their head and they feel frustrated and they don't know why. Or the auditory kid who always has the talking stick, you know, and doesn't really understand how to listen to do the internal part of auditory. They want to do the external because that's the way their brain's wired. Or the kinesthetic kid that really can't express themselves. And for them, it's kind of like Irish Alzheimer's, forget everything but the drudges. They just carry this little pile of hurts because that voice or that trigger, they carry that until someone with the insight of energies recognizes the way that their brain relaxes and breathes, and you're really attuning to their heart so they can receive the wholeness. And I think it would be good if any teachers are out there, if they could upload their own safe places, it would be fun if we could do that on Instagram or whatever other teachers do.
That's a great idea. I'll start that kind of that thread. I do have another picture. This is from a first grade room. Look at.
Cute.
Yeah, it's very cozy, you know, and it does add to that home feel of the classroom. And so, as I said, this was unrelated to the election, but I think it's a wonderful thing that we have it now that we do have students who are feeling anxious. You know, this is a place to go and feel okay.
And like you said earlier, they don't know which role model to respond to. Trump and all of the insulting that really affected confusion and uncertainty, or the Obama, Hillary, Michelle team and Bernie, who took a totally different approach, recognizing that we're shifting in a whole different consciousness in the world, where we're moving away from separation, which one group represents, to a unity of a global face, one human face. And if everybody has their own children, you know, that's where you're bonded. But then you begin to recognize that it's all children that we care about, especially as teachers.
Yeah,
I would love to be included in the next conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
So I need to have another.
Our next one is not going to be Thursday, because Thursday's Thanksgiving. So we'll have one the Thursday after, which I think is December 1st.
Cool.
And that we're going to be talking about December and winter holidays, multicultural, not just Christmas, and also working with students who don't celebrate.
Yeah.
Making sure they're not feeling left out.
And actually, that's one thing I have a lot of examples to share.
Okay.
Because in schools, as some of our teachers know, we have different students of different faiths, different culture, different celebrations, and non-celebrations.
Yeah, and we want to make sure they all feel like part of the family, whether they celebrate or not.
Okay.
But this, I would just want to show you guys this sign was up in one of our classrooms. I'm sure it still is, and this was up at the beginning of the year too. And this, I don't know if it was inspired by this book or if it was just already up, but I think this is wonderful too, because, you know, it's a real different relationship that teachers are putting out there with their students than when we were in school. You know, it's felt a lot more clinical then, and it's more cuddly now, or it should be, I hope so.
And the old, actually not very long ago, we used to have these big cubbies for kids to be able to sit in. And
hold on, I want to say thank you to our librarian, Mrs. Primick. I'm sorry she wasn't here for me to ask if I could use her library or her office. And I came in here because the Family University is going to be coming in, and it's going to get really crazy in my lab. Would you like to say anything in regard to
I have no idea what you're talking
dealing
about.
with students post-election anxieties?
And I'll trade places.
Well, no, I think she wants to go home.
Yeah, I'm leaving. So.
Yeah, but I'm sorry that I'm here and you didn't expect me, and I just.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
No, but not right now. No, I gotta go home.
Okay.
I was supposed to be there a while ago. So.
Okay, be careful.
Lisa, do you think that the next one we should do at 4 o'clock? Because I think 5 gets late for teachers fixing dinner and all of that.
That I will see about that. I'll see if I can change the day. The reason I made it at 5 tonight is because I do have a teacher that I usually work with as a technology coach at 4 o'clock, but she may be fine about changing time. I will look.
Well, I'm just thinking of our audience that, of course, the one when it's in a later time zone, it won't matter. But I think Thursday's
well, that's
good,
even later.
But probably.
Or we could do Wednesdays at 4 instead.
It doesn't matter to me, whatever you feel the teachers want. But I think what we ought to figure out is how we can have teachers. We want an interplay, and they all have wonderful ideas. So if we can create this as a sharing place.
Well, that's the thing too. There, do you see at the top of the screen where it says "Ask a Question" and it's got a link? Yeah. Okay. Mrs. Stevens is saying goodbye now.
Bye, Mrs. Stevens.
Bye. Oh, did you tell her I want to have her come visit our school?
She wants you to come and visit our school.
Oh, that's so nice. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, we have a certain request from our school counselors that are.
Oh, that's right. I didn't talk to her about that yet.
Oh, I hear some fun kids.
Sorry.
So, anyway,
bye, Susan.
Is that Lisette?
No, but
Bye-bye,
wait,
Lisa.
yeah, it's Lisette.
Yeah.
It's Lisette. Hi, Mateo.
Hi, Mateo. Hi, Diego.
Hi.
Eat bunnies.
Okay, Lisette.
I'm gonna mute it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
bye. My question has to do with how the counselors are learning and listening, and what avenue, what kind of place we're going to in the area of cyberbullying, but in a specific way. Many of us are feeling, I don't think it's totally true, but I think in a way we're wondering, how are we taking this on? We have a lot of students. I particularly have had parents call me and ask me, what can we do about our kids sharing these topics on Lively Chat and on Instagram and on Snapchat?
It's a social media problem, that the cyberbullying and the sharing inappropriate things and just stuff like that is, I think it's growing.
And it's more specific. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing. I think that if what we can do is really be specific about the difference in response or reaction, because these kids that are considered cyberbullies, what they're doing is they're in emotional states that they haven't learned to restrain, and so they automatically send out this hate from their anger states, their trigger states, instead of understanding how to take a breath, pause, step back, and recognize a larger face, which is all of us. And we're going to have to do one session on that. I think Lisa and Lisette plan that.
And I think we're becoming more savvy. I mean, I think we're like and maybe we've just had to say, okay, it's here. We've been kind of saying it's cyberbullying, but I think you're correct. I think there's specific skills that we can teach. Because one of the things that's happening, which was really clear after I really just let go and said, I don't know what's going on. They actually explained all the details of what they had done. And it turned out it was something that could be dealt with in a counseling. We could have a problem solving session. And we did. We actually cleared it up. I actually listened, more specifically to what had happened. I heard about the girl was joking. The other person took it personally. There was a lot of interactive, like playing around, like joking back and forth. A boy got a hold of the information, just a fifth grader saying, oh, I'll take care of it. I'll send another type of email, a type of text. And so the thing grew in front of them, and the other girl who had started the joke didn't know how that had happened. Well, she was just kind of, oh, I didn't mean it.
There's a lot of chance for misinterpretation in text and chats,
That Lively Chat
people
was where they started it.
People don't always communicate correctly, and then they misunderstand, jump to the wrong conclusions.
Now, I don't want to make it sound like I don't know this. My daughter's in her 20s, and she's been texting forever, and I've been hearing about it forever. But to really take the time to specifically listen to how it's going and what's happening, I think we've kind of had our heads in the sand a little. I think the counselors admitted it. We're all
because
savvy,
the kids are above. Kids are beyond us most of us in technology.
And we're talking about as teachers that we need to get with it, and we need to know. And in fact, our counselors, our principals, are saying, "Whoa, what are we doing? We just sit back and we talk about it, but what can we do specifically?"
I think one of the things is that it's so instant. There's no restraint on impulse control. So one, they have this incredible ability to use technology. Two, they know nothing about their brain responses. Because if you think about it, we have 5,000 plus languages in the world. To me, that is a miracle that the brain has such a robust urgency to connect with each other. That, I mean, how many, 5,000 different words for love. So what we need to do is take some very specific steps about texting etiquette and pausing and recognizing how easy it is. You remember in the old days, the old-timey days when we wrote handwritten notes, and it's hard to throw those away, especially if someone's died and you see that handwriting and you don't want to lose that because you feel like you're throwing away their soul. But I heard some wise person say, if you can say it, don't write it, especially about anger. And these kids have no idea that the words that are using are affecting the nervous system, the emotional being of that other child. And it really, when we do the best of it, our brain is augmented by technology. And of course, like the online courses and all the other things we do are just fabulous. But we are really, I think, need to take a step back and break the things down that are really important to see through the eyes of this larger global unity that is really expanding now, especially with the millennials. They have a whole different response.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming in on the shoulders of a better foundation of the global unity. And I think that's why you saw such disparity and even the lack of, enthusiasm in voting, which was really disastrous. But now we have these two dualities being expressed. And so now everybody needs to understand how to respond in healthy ways in their families, because families everywhere are so polarized. And they don't even know why they're polarized because of this election.
Yeah. So knowing that, we've been discussing it at many levels. There's a lot of disconnections discussions that are coming up. So this is a ripe time to discuss it. So I'd be very happy to come back and talk about that.
I'll talk to Artie. And let me know when, like what time of day or what day, and then we can coordinate.
I like the idea of 4 o'clock on a Wednesday.
No, I don't mean for the Google chat.
Okay.
I want to have Artie visit.
It's kind of the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And then I think if what we do is we recognize, for one thing, people don't have any clue that they're not living their reality. They live in the projections of their reality, which isn't real. So we have all these different cultures, genders, issues. And to make some kind of sense of that, we just have to break that down, like teaching basic math instead of calculus. That's what I think we need to do with this approach.
We need to scaffold it. We need emotional scaffolding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice to meet you. And
the
other
thing, Lisa, I think what we want to do is anybody that's listening, if they could email you for topics that they feel hot topics in their schools, then we can break those out into sessions that will be relevant for anybody, not just teachers.
Actually, I was going to make that. I was going to do that. Send out, put a link to a topic request, and also as far as times, and see what the consensus is. What time and day is good for most teachers. So I will make a little.
Also, Carla Conley is part of our team, and she is an amazing, skilled person, not just in technology, but her own consciousness. And Jennifer too. I think that what we do is we consult how we can make this more effective. And I think just we get started, and there's never a perfect, you just do each step, and then just be grateful that we have this technology to communicate.
It sounds great. Well, let me see.
Would you like to say something?
I think Lisette doesn't want to turn on the sound because the kids are there with her.
All right, go ahead, Lisa. Finish
I'm not going to play this, but the presentation is. I'm going to make this available too to anyone that does want to download it. And so these links are live. How to talk to your kids about the election. There's that. Here's another one.
Can't people post that on their Facebook page? Isn't there a link to do that?
Yeah. They'll be able to post the whole thing.
Can you point to that with your cursor?
I'll have to, the whole thing, I think.
Well, I think if Darren sent an email out with a link, that would be great.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think the link is the one that I gave, but I want to make sure that they see this presentation.
Yes,
so I suppose
that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And we also need to put it on the website as a resource,
yes.
So it can be there for anybody's viewing.
Okay. Right. So well, let me see. There's that, and I can paste it in here. So there's link. There's that in our chat. But as far as it being, I should make a bit.ly link for this so that people can get to it quickly. I can do that actually really quick. Well, I don't want this screen to be weird. Let me go through the rest of it so you guys can see what's in the presentation. So there's these links about talking with kids, the Trump effect on our kids. This is what, the bottom one is the article from NEA that I showed you before, but this up here is actually, this is also from in NEA, and it's all different people in Twitter, and it's hashtag I'm telling my kids. And so I love this. We can also, all of us can contribute to this. It's basically a brainstorming of parents and teachers talking about what they're telling their kids. So this is growing as we speak. People adding their ideas to this. So that's a really great link. I guess every time I get out, it makes it small.
Well, I think if we can continue to answer what's coming up and where we're heading, and recognize young teens, 20s, generations are all coming of age, and they're primed and ready for all these revelations that take people beyond this old-timey model. Right. So we'll just, kind of keep drafting topics so it allows everyone to engage and participate. And express the magnitude of their dreams and settle for more.
Sounds awesome. I think what we need to do too, and maybe we can even do this on a test run, not the actual real next Google, the public one, but have one of us pretend to be a public, not a participant, but just someone who wants to see it, because I really am not sure right now whether or not people are able to see it live. I wish I knew. I wish I could clone myself and be in two places, Well,
maybe Carla Connolly could give us that feedback.
Can you do that? Can you text her? Text them. Can you text them right now and ask them if they can see us live without joining the Hangout, but can they click on that link that's in Facebook and see and hear us right now or not? That's what I'm curious about.
Okay, tell me the question again.
If they click on the link that I provided in Facebook to this Google Hangout, can they see and hear it right now?
Okay, what is the Facebook link?
It takes you to, it's YouTube Live.
No, what is it specifically?
Let me see. Let me go to it, and then hold on. I'll paste it. Hold on. This is good. We can check this now.
And you wanted me to ask them, can they see what?
Can they see and hear us?
Where?
Hold on. I'll give you the link. Hold on. YouTube. Okay. Let's see. Live streaming. Stream now. Events. Okay.
Well,
Here it
Lisa,
is. Wait,
why
wait,
don't
wait.
we just-
I have it. I have it. I have it.
Streaming.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So here it is. There. If they go to that YouTube link, I want to know can they see and hear us right now without being down there with us. There's Lisette and Darren and you, Artie, and there's me. And there's only 10 people a limit down there. But can people see and hear us talking about this?
Okay, I think you're going to have to text me that link because it went off so fast. And we're running to 6 o'clock, so we should say goodbye. And we are glad that we've had our first experience.
Yep.
And
we'll get better as we go.
Yes, of course.
Are you having fun with your grandchildren in Bend?
Yes.
Okay.
Great time.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Bought a new outfit for middle school dance tomorrow. So it's
have fun.
Okay, so let's just move on and have a major shakeup of the old constructs and just invite everybody to help us create this so it's relevant.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bring in, like, it was great that Susan was here, but I'm going to plan in advance and try to have, you know, like guest speakers.
Did you see Darren post? Darren posted that there were 2 viewers.
Oh.
Was it Carla? Do we know who the viewers are?
I cannot see. I see that it says 1 viewer down below, and I don't know if Darren knows, if we could tell. I'm not sure. If people can see this live, then I guess I'm a little bit disappointed that only 2 are looking at us when I shared it on Facebook.
Well,
oh well.
It's fine, Lisa. We're just kind of working through the process of finding out how to make it relevant because time is so precious. We just don't want to be talking heads. We really want to do things that are interactive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing having the text questions is cool, but you got to know that there's a limit of 10 people in a Google Hangout.
All right.
As far as it being interactive, oh, wait, I need to think about this and get my mind around it, but there may be other ways to make it interactive. For instance, if they could be listening to it, but we could also have some sort of, you know, Lisette, you know, like Kahoot, like audience response things and polls and stuff, and maybe we could be running some other thing that has to do with it that they could go to and respond on there.
Well, some of the emails I've sent you are using very different systems, and they have huge audiences. So they're paying a lot for their system. So I think that's a business question we can talk about Saturday morning.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
See you Saturday.
All right.
Enjoy your evening. Bye,
Okay,
Lisa.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
I had it muted.
He's so cute.
Dile bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Manda beso.
Bye.
Adios, amigo.
Dile adiós.
Adios.
Adios.
Manda otro beso.
Bye, guys. Have a good
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Okay, Artie, thank you.
That was fun. So
Yes. It wasn't
you know,
perfect, that's for sure, but
I'm sorry, I just had such a hard time. I was on a Google Hangout all by myself, and I thought, you know, I called Darren because I don't know why I could not find the link. I had the old link on the email from yesterday, and it took me just to Google Hangouts, but not joining yours. So I don't know why that was.
I think, so I clicked the invitation to invite you, but I think what I'll do next time when I send the invitation as well, I'll copy the link to this specific Hangout and send it to your email.
Okay. Darren, are you still there?
He's not. I don't see him listed down there.
Okay. So just you and me.
Just you and me.
Are there any other guests on?
It says there's one viewer.
I wonder if
But you know what I'll do? I can stop the broadcast. So good night, world.
Good night. All right. Bye-bye.